quiere cantar su alegría a mi tierra mexicana. Yo le canto a sus volcanes, a sus predares y flores, que son como talismanes del amor de mis amores. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti. It's time for the Shoeshine. Johnny Sapp in the house, straight from the 408. It's time for the Shoeshine.
¡México! ¡Viva México!
All right, everybody. It's the return of the Shoeshine. It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you from my studio in San Jose, California on a special President's Day edition of the Shoeshine. Joining me as always is my co-host all the way from the city of brotherly love, Mr. Drew Evo, Philly Irish. ¿Qué pasa, brother?
What is up? And
Yeah.
Happy President's Day. And I repeat, I did not do anything with that young Antone.
Oh, whoa. And Drew, by the way, man, your green screen is looking mighty fresh, Philly Irish. We're upgrading the show. The sound is sounding good. Let us know what you think. We got some new cameras. We got some new microphones in action. Trying to step up our game here. So, real quick, Drew, I want to send some shout outs to people who just joined our new YouTube channel, because we are streaming on Periscope as we gravitate towards YouTube. Ignorant Boxing, William Boxing, 4Ben Media, Black and Brown Boxing, Joe Lopez, 40 Ounce, Joe Booney Sports Channel. Drew and I were on his channel. Shout out to Joe up in Canada. Sonteo Media, Rick Rage. Thank you guys for subscribing, and thank you to a lot of our Twitter friends and family that have been watching us from way back in the day on Periscope. You know who you guys are. Thank you so much for that. And Drew, this weekend, it was a big weekend for boxing, man. We took the week off before that, which everybody needs some time off here and there. But this weekend, man, DAZN and ESPN on free television, I think there was at least 4 amazing fights I want to talk about. And also, a lot of Mexican and Mexican-American fans are just, we're just salivating because this weekend is a humongous fight. Mexico versus Mexico. I'm talking about Miguel Burchelt and Oscar Valdez at 130 pounds. These guys didn't have to face each other, man, but in the tradition of great Mexican fighters like Barrera and Morales, these guys are going to go to toe-to-toe, and we're going to cover that and give our predictions. But Drew, let's just get right into this Saturday, because the day started off early in the UK. Hey, you don't mind if I have a whiskey, right? My Irish brothers.
Go ahead. Unfortunately, I don't have one. I don't have anything to drink.
you might want to get some water at least, man, because we're going to be on here for a while. Also, let me send out a shout out to everybody at Leave It in the Ring Network, guys. They've been some big supporters of us. Our podcast is available on the Leave It in the Ring Radio Network, available on Pandora, iTunes, wherever you might get your podcast from. This Thursday is going to be a tremendous show on D-Style's YouTube boxing channel. I think we might have a boxer friend of mine from Las Vegas on that. And, of course, they'll all be giving predictions on this Saturday's show, Saturday's showdown between Valdez and Burchelt. So, Drew, cherry picking gone wrong, man. I'm talking about the UK's Josh Warrington, former 126-pound featherweight champion. It turns out that he vacated the belt. But this kid, Mauricio Lara, he went all the way to the UK. You know that, like, lately, Mexico versus UK, it's a huge rivalry. Drew, I don't know if you've been a fan of Josh Warrington, but he's a really solid featherweight champion. But he had to vacate the belt. I think it was like 15 months of inactivity. Just the highlights alone, man. What'd you take away from those highlights? Because it was an upset, and everybody is still talking about that.
Well, let's just say, Josh Warrington's not that type of guy that's going to win with his power. He didn't really have a lot of power, in my opinion. And he fights like a fighter that attempts to use his power a lot, which is not smart. He's flat-footed too much, and that I believe you have to be more technical a little bit. He went toe-to-toe with this guy, which was a mistake. Like, you went toe-to-toe with him. He took your punches. You couldn't take his punches. You got knocked out, and you have a fractured jaw to, end your night with.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that he went toe-to-toe, because it seems like that was the wrong choice he made, being that he had been inactive for so long. And I'm finding out that, Mauricio Lara had been sparring with some top opponents building up to this Josh Warrington fight. There was no IBF title on the line, and it's kind of a disappointment for Lara, because there's a missed opportunity for him to come out of nowhere and be a new featherweight champion from Mexico. And so it's deeply disappointing. But what impressed me the most was that fourth round, and Drew, still a lot of people are talking about it. Now, I'm not going to play highlights like we used to, because, man, we'll just get thrown right off of YouTube. There's no point in that. But if you saw the fight, that fourth round, Lara rocked him. That was the first time he rocked him and dropped him. And I wanted to know, a lot of people, especially if you go through YouTube comments or Twitter, of course, boxing Twitter, people thought that his corner maybe should have stopped the fight at the fourth round. But no, it kept going until that ninth round. Your thoughts on letting a fighter maybe stopping the fight?
Well, if I was a dude's trainer, I probably would have stopped it, because, like, the way the plan wasn't working. The initial game plan wasn't working at all, and it looked like they didn't have a plan B at all. If you watch that whole fight, by that fourth round, your plan A was gone. It looked like his corner did not have a plan B whatsoever. And I would have stopped. I'm surprised they didn't stop it there, but they misjudged the fighter for thinking that he had power, I guess. Like, they misjudged their fighter big time. And it might have really seriously got him hurt for misjudging him.
Right. And so it went on into the ninth round where he was knocked out in a devastating fashion. Yeah, he was out on his feet to me after that fourth round. And after that, it was just an exercise in, I don't know, risk management, man. I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed. But again, he's a former champion. So you have to let him fight on his shield to some extent. But he took some heavy punishment. And I'm not saying Lara is going to be like being the top echelon of 126. Like, there's a Navarrete from Mexico City that a lot of people think at Top Rank, man, that he's the big Mexican fighter at featherweight division.
But the thing is, it's also the referee's responsibility to stop that fight too, if he thinks the fighter took too much punishment. And if there was doctors in these corners looking at these fighters, I'm surprised a doctor didn't even stop it either. So
yeah,
you can't let's blame it on the his team. You gotta blame it on the referee too.
Right.
And you gotta blame it on the doctors for not stopping this fight early. Like, by the way, that after that fourth round, yeah, this fight should have been stopped, but his team should have stopped it. But at the same time, if your team not gonna stop it, it's also referees and the doctor's responsibility to stop it too. He must have passed some type of concussion test or something before going back out. He had to, or if they let him back out.
Absolutely, man. What about this whole thing that sports fans are recognizing in the sport of boxing that the UK and Mexico have this huge rivalry brewing. Of course, we had Andy Ruiz against going over to the UK and whatnot, and Canelo Alvarez that is going to be fighting in May for Cinco de Mayo. Hey, and joining us right now. Let's see.
Órale, pues.
This is a segment we like to call the casual boxing fan. Is he a casual boxing fan? Drew Evo is going to make that determination, of course. Órale, pues is my mariachi backup, man. He wants to know.
Hey, Drew. Fuck the ego. Fuck the ego. Brother.
Do me a favor. You shouldn't be talking right now because you're a Jaguars fan, and they only won 2 games last year.
Oh, dude. Next year, you start new quarterback? You said new quarterback?
Nah, we're going to have Carson Wentz back. Watch.
Huh?
Yeah, the Jaguars got a lot of problems of their own, man. They're facing these racism allegations. They hired supposedly a racist strength and conditioning coach, and they had to quickly let him go. Johnny, your team's in disarray. But today we're here to find out one thing is not whether or not you can hit those high notes at the fights, because we already saw earlier in the beginning, man, that he's pretty good as a backup singer. But we're here to find out if Johnny Savage is a real boxing fan or nothing more than a casual. Now, we'll start with question number 1 for Drew Evo and Johnny Savage, the Latin lover from Los Angeles. Johnny Savage, I'm writing this down because it's a test right here.
Move it.
Now, Now, I'm going to put that one in the column for a real boxing fan. He knows some of the songs that we sing at the fights. Okay. Drew, this one's for you. Johnny Savage.
That's a casual fan.
Oh, that's a casual fan? That could be any music fan, right?
That's a casual fan, by the way.
Hey, shout out to A-Rod 83 Boxeo. Salute. Yeah, salud. Saludos, my homeboy A-Rod. Thank you for coming in.
You have to teach me Spanish before you sing and make that a pro boxing fan, a non-casual fan.
All right, so if you're just joining us, we're trying to figure out if this guy Johnny Reyes is a casual fan or a hardcore.
Suck, bro.
All right, Johnny, you're failing the test already. You got 1 point for knowing volver from Vicente Fernandez. But
Volver.
Number 2, here's the second question. Did you watch boxing this Saturday? Can you tell me who fought this weekend, Johnny?
No, I honestly, Dave, I didn't watch it. Got too much fucking. You know what I mean?
Too much sex.
Okay.
Yo, man, that's a casual. That sounds like a casual fan right there. All right. Number 3, Johnny Savage, do you own any boxing memorabilia in your man cave?
Yeah, I do. My Paez and De La Hoya shit.
All right, well, let me see it because I don't believe you. This could be a vote for
Is he in stockings or a dress?
Yeah, no stockings, dude. No De La Hoya stockings.
De La Hoya was a cross-dresser back in his day.
Oh, hey, congratulate, brother.
So far, I don't see any boxing memorabilia in the man cave. This one's a toss-up question. So here's a good one. Am I in camera? Yeah, you're on camera. And I don't see any boxing memorabilia. So right now, you're trending towards casual boxing fan.
Me.
Right, remember this fight?
Okay. De La Hoya. I can't see the other guy.
All right, now he didn't watch the fight on Saturday, but he's got some fight posters, man. So that might be a real boxing fan here. Johnny
Hernandez.
Oh yeah, that was a great fighter, Renato Hernandez. So he might be an actual boxing fan. And here's another one for Johnny Savage: is Canelo Alvarez?
I got more.
You got more? Is Canelo Alvarez the greatest Mexican fighter? No, that's a trick question.
Hey, check this out. Who will win the fight? Who will win this fight?
Ali.
Ali or Tyson? Who will win that fight?
Ali.
All right. Now, he's got quite a bit of memorabilia, Drew. Now, I'm going to let Drew take over the question because I just asked you, is Canelo Alvarez the greatest Mexican fighter? And that's a trick question, though. That might
He
be.
didn't answer that. I want his answer.
Yeah. We want an answer. Canelo Alvarez, is he the greatest Mexican fighter?
He sucks.
What'd he say? Oh, my.
That's a point towards a good boxing fan. Good job, Johnny.
Look at
You passed that test.
Pius.
All right, I'm going to let Drew take the last question because we're trying to determine if Johnny Reyes is a member of the club, real boxing fan, or a casual.
Johnny Savage, I want your top 5 greatest boxers of all time. Shoot.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you might
Five?
got top 5 boxers right now. Come on.
Greatest boxers of all time.
Sugar Street Mosley.
All right.
And
Hall
De
of
La
Famer.
Hoya.
Right, 2.
And I love Prince Nassim.
Nassim, okay. All right.
I love De La Hoya.
Okay.
I love Warrington, Ali, and fucking what's the name? The tiny guy. He's Rocky Marcelano. Rocky Marcelano.
Can I add another question?
Yeah.
And then I love what's his name? He just fought recently. I love
Leon
Lennox
Spinks.
Lewis. Lennox Lewis.
Lennox
Johnny
Lewis.
Savage, before you came on here, how much alcohol did you consume?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Fucked.
Okay, you all right? Okay, that's pretty good
Jesus,
too.
you know what, Dave? That top 5, I can't get. That's a casual boxing fan.
Right now,
By
it's
far.
casual. All right, Johnny
That's a
Savage.
casual.
This may be the one. This might be the deal breaker because I gotta end this bit right now. But what is your cerveza of choice? And let me see it right now. Because if you're in the man cave, there better be some cerveza.
I got Truly, bro.
Oh my God, man,
That's a
you
deal breaker.
failed. You
Truly.
failed. Failed. Truly. Oh man, I can't make this stuff up. Johnny.
2-0.
Johnny, I appreciate you calling the show, man. I'm gonna have you hang up and I'm taking submissions right now if anybody wants to hire our mariachi band, okay?
Hey, dude, really? Like you coming out home? Come
No,
on, bro.
I have to because we got to move on with the show, dude. But everybody, check out Johnny Savage.
should be honored.
Johnny, what's
that
your
you just
YouTube channel? It's Racy. Johnny Savage's.
Balls.
Give everyone your YouTube channel. I don't need to see your ear. Back up.
Hey, Eagle. Hey, what's it called? Drew. Eagles suck, bro. Eagles gonna suck, bro. They're not going nowhere, bro. Not going nowhere. Just like the Niners.
All right, Johnny. Thanks a lot for calling the show, man, and thanks for hanging out with me this weekend and pretending we were at the fight singing, man.
Move it.
All right, Johnny, hang up now. Appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you later, Johnny.
Hey,
Peace.
peace out.
Oh, my God. So, everybody, yeah, that's a little something we're doing here, trying to have fun. Okay, Johnny, you can hang up. I'm still seeing his face over here.
Please hang up.
I need you to hang up. I can't hang up on you on
Johnny.
the stream.
This is where you hang up now, okay, bud?
All right. Johnny
That
Reyes,
makes me
everyone.
2-0 in this segment.
So he was pretty close, man. Like the guy last week that we had, our friend, speech impediment man of the Howard Stern show. He knew a lot of stuff, man. I was kind of on the fence, but some people
But you
said he
wanna
was a
know
real
something,
fan.
Dave? You want to
Yeah.
know something, Dave? He's going to be the closest it's ever come to it, though. And it's going to be a shame. I always did a spoiler to everybody. Every casual is on here is not going to come as close as Johnny Savage. Okay, I'm sorry to break it to you guys.
Now he did have a lot of boxing memorabilia, and that's something that I wish my studio has, man. I
should have asked him when he's going to sell it.
I don't have any boxing memorabilia. If you want to call on the show, our phone line should be active at 702-710-3627. Let us know what was your favorite fight of the weekend, or if you want to chime in with a prediction and put it on tape right now for this weekend. But Drew, also, hey, 154 pounds. Now, this was a title fight on DAZN as well. And I actually saw this guy Teixeira fight from Brazil. I saw him fight in November at Cosmopolitan when he won that belt. And he gave up the belt, man. I thought this was a soccer match. It was Brazil versus Argentina.
I actually saw Teixeira get knocked out by Curtis Stevens.
So I didn't see that, but that would leave a lasting impression. As when I saw him fight, not to take anything away from him winning the 154-pound belt, I didn't think he would hold on to it very long. And I had been advocating on our show and other shows that Terrence Crawford. I thought Terrence Crawford should have possibly have taken. We got a call. Let's just try our call-in line number. 951, you're on the air. It's the Shoeshine.
Hello, Miss Catalina. Hi. How come you don't have high pitch on the show? I'm a big follower from the Gonzo podcast. And Dave, you are so
This is Johnny Savage, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a, hey, Johnny.
Ah.
You can't come back as a different character and change our minds for the moment, man. So tell Grandma Willow to tell Johnny Savage that it's just casual for right now.
It's just
That's what happens when you have an assortment of friends that drink on a Monday night. So Teixeira, dude, 154 pounds. He loses the strap to this much shorter in stature Castano. But if anybody fought Mexican style, man, were you impressed by the amount of punches Castano threw?
Oh, yeah. I saw him fight, too. I saw him fight against his story Lara when he had that draw. And a lot of people say he thought he won the fight. I thought it was a draw, but he did fight well against Lara. And I thought he was due for a title shot eventually. I'm glad he got one against possibly the weakest champion of that division, Teixeira, because I thought of him as the weakest champion. And he took advantage of it. He actually threw 1,137 punches, I believe.
Yeah, that was
whole fight.
That was a lot of a lot of punches and output thrown, and he definitely deserved to win that I wasn't vacant, the 154-pound strap. But we just had a comment from A-Rod83. He said his favorite fight of the night, and I didn't plan on talking about it, but that baby Anderson over at Top Rank. I saw him fight his first professional fight in Reno. That was the same night that Xander Zayas made his professional. Now, Anderson is reportedly, he's a sparring partner of Tyson Fury, man. And Tyson Fury has nothing but good things to say about him as an American prospect. I don't know if you caught that knockout of that former football player. It was pretty good for a 6th round. I thought he was going to go the distance, but
I think when it comes to Big Baby Anderson, it's time to step up his competition.
he's only been fighting, like I said, as maybe it's 6 or 7 professional fight.
Yeah, but it's time to get this kid some rounds, because he's gonna probably contend for a title or get close to getting eliminated or around maybe his 14th or 15th professional fight.
No, I think you're right about his trajectory. And Baby Anderson, kind of high on him too. I mean, the things that Tyson Fury, he's got a strong work ethic. But our friend Raw Boxing TV, I think he's still wrapping up his show, and I wanted him to be on here. Raw Boxing interviewed Frank Sanchez, that is in Canelo Alvarez's camp. Frank Sanchez, who we saw fight on PBC. I think those two might be a very exciting matchup at some point. We got a call.
I would definitely favor Big Baby Anderson in that fight.
Now, Frank Sanchez versus Baby Anderson. Now, they're different promotional companies, but if you want to call back 323, I can call you back.
And this better not be Johnny Savage again.
I don't think so, man. It's a different area code. Hey, 323. So I don't think that phone is going to pick up. But if they want to call back, they definitely...
I'm sorry, the person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Yeah, well, at least the phone line is working. Drew, so we deviated a little bit away from Castanos and Teixeira. Here we go. Hey, what's up, 323? You're on the Shoeshine.
Hello, this is Leroy. I'm a big fan of your fucking show. It's a great-ass show. I love it. You know, Canelo I think he's a little bitch. You know what I mean? I think he's a little fucking bitch.
I think you're still a casual fan, but good try. Keep trying, man. I'll let you know if we get any bookings for the mariachi, okay?
Yeah, you're not making me feel any better about this now.
No, I'm at least glad the phone line is working. All right, so Drew,
Oh, I'm glad so too.
154 pounds. And we just had a comment from A-Rod that says he'd like to see that Frank Sanchez versus Baby Anderson. Now, that Cuban system, man. The Cuban system, I don't know who I'd favor that. Like you said, Baby Anderson's probably has not had as many amateur fights as Frank
Yeah,
Sanchez.
like don't get me wrong. The Cuban style is one of my favorite type of boxing styles because it's pure. It's a lot of defense, and like it's a lot of making your fighter look bad, making him try to fight your style and everything. Like if you want to look at one of the best guys that fight that style, Rigondeaux fights that style perfectly because he's from Cuba and everything. But
Just one of the few. I mean, just one. I mean, we're getting so much talent coming in from Cuba that have defected. But it is a fight down the line. But Drew, at 154 pounds, I didn't expect Teixeira to win. I really didn't have him expected him to win. And now we got Charlo, who's got 3 belts, and now we got Castano, and people immediately are calling for that fight.
I picked Castano to win that fight against Teixeira.
Against a Charlo. Wow, that's controversial.
I do pick him to beat Charlo too. I actually do think this kid can beat Charlo. Like that type of, I don't think it will be that same type of fight that he has with Teixeira because Teixeira, they were both closer together. Charlo's gonna try to box. I saw this kid actually box before. He's a good boxer. So I think it's gonna be a real like counter fest. Like because these like they're gonna try to. It's gonna be could be kind of boring at first because they're gonna try to counter one another. But I think as the fight progresses, it'd be more technical and more volume punches thrown in the later rounds.
All right, Aries Landa Lara does hold the belt at 154. I'm not sure if it's like a minor belt. That's a possible opponent, and somebody that a lot of people were excited about is the Australian son of Costa Zoo, who will be fighting Dennis Hogan, a fellow Irishman.
Tim Tszyu. Yeah,
Tim
Tszyu.
He's been making a lot of noise last year in 2020, and a lot of people were calling, hey, he might be a contender real soon. We'll see how he does against Dennis Hogan. Dennis Hogan had a really good matchup with Jaime Munguia. So these are 2 guys, reputable guys going forward, and maybe we'll be seeing Castano fight those guys and not get this Charlo opportunity. But Charlo could unify. I mean, he could call for that fight and collect another strap, man.
Well, right now, here's the thing. I really think Law is probably the top fighter in that division. In my opinion, I think Law is still the top fighter in that division, and then I will probably go with right now Charlo as number 2, because Lara still is that damn good and everything. He still is a crafty fighter. And everything.
Yeah. We're not.
So I still think Stanley Lara is the best boxer at 154. And shout out to him for following me on Twitter. I don't know how long ago.
So another comment from A-Rod says he thinks that Charlo versus Castano would be a fantastic matchup because Castano is so good at cutting off the ring against taller opponents, which he did. He said he only fights guys taller. He's like 5'7" for 154. Now, if I didn't know any better, that you had told me that he was from Argentina, I would have thought that with his fighting style, that's the classic Mexican style, the pressure fighting style that worked for him. And it got him the belt, man. So still a lot of exciting things at 154. Let's move on to the next fight, Drew. And that one was on DAZN as well. And now I'm talking about JoJo Diaz, Mexican-American kid from Southern California, who lost his strap on the scale on Friday, bro. 130 pounds. He had troubles like Gervonta Davis. He gave up his belt. He's had all kinds of drama in his personal life.
No he excuse. Said that I'm not gonna risk my life to make weight. But when it comes to that, it's time for JoJo to just move up to 135. If you're not gonna, I know, if you couldn't make that weight, you say you're not gonna risk your life. Hey, I respect that, but maybe it might be time to move up to 135.
He just moved up from featherweight to 130 and was able to beat Tevin Farmer in a very, very tight, competitive, close fight, grueling fight. And his performance there was so much better. But we're in the age of coronavirus and things are strange. I know they say he just had a baby, so there was a lot on his mind. He's had managerial problems, promotional problems or whatnot. Seems like his life was a little bit of turmoil. Then you had a family. At first, he seemed to be he seemed to be okay, but those middle rounds, bro, I mean, he just about gave them all up to let me get his name, Rakimov. Because Rakimov coming from Russia, man, he made a statement. What'd you think of Rakimov?
I was impressed with him. Like, I thought he won the fight. I didn't like the draw. I thought he won the fight, but I had it like 7-5, 8-4. I had a 7-5, but I could understand people saw it 8-4 for Rakimov.
Really?
I could see that because he was actually controlling the pace of the fight for a while.
So I got some numbers here. I still got the numbers. Rakimov 213 landed out of 951. So the busier fighter for sure was Rakimov. Diaz landed 233 of 740. That's a 32% connect percentage. So Rakimov was the busier fighter, and it looked like the judges weren't impressed. Maybe they thought those punches weren't landing. The commentary for DAZN, we know, is always skewed, right? It's going to be skewed in favor of DAZN's fighters.
Yeah, and like I didn't understand though. They're talking about how Mannix got that close and everything.
Mannix was
the official.
Mannix was the official scorer of that fight, or unofficial scorer,
the other
right? Guy
said, "How do you have him not have JoJo Diaz winning his fight handily?" I don't understand how he didn't have that. How he had that other guy had JoJo winning handily because Rakimov was actually like up. Maybe like by like 5 or 6 rounds at one point on JoJo. But like there was like I had the 12th round going to Rakimov. And that's how I got 7-5. Right. And I just thought Rakimov was able to land more with those combinations that he was throwing out because he was mostly throwing combinations the whole fight.
Yeah, he had some nice shoe shines in there. I did think that JoJo Diaz had the faster hands in this fight particularly, and it looked like his punches were cleaner. But for me, the scorecard could have easily been 7-5 or 6-6. I'm not too upset about that, but JoJo Diaz did close those last rounds, those championship rounds. And one of the things that I remember them saying was that Freddie Roach said Rakimov had made it this far in his career without having a serious running regimen. Like he didn't run when he met Freddie Roach. I mean, most boxers are like marathon runners, but he had to implement a running into his conditioning. And it seemed like when he got to 11th and 12th round that he didn't have the stamina that was necessary to close out the show. It actually looked like JoJo Diaz was much stronger, and he had been in those positions before in them championship rounds. Yeah, but it was close.
I thought if he had better conditioning, I thought he would have easily went away with this fight.
Yeah, and instead of it being a draw, he'd be the new 130-pound champion. But he definitely made a name for himself on 130 pounds. Is really exciting. We know Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton fight is coming up. You got Shakur Stevenson at that weight division. A lot of big dogs, man. A lot of big dogs.
Yeah, shout to Jamel Herring. He actually replied back to me on Twitter and was offering to. I asked him, "Would you do a podcast interview if we can make time for?" He's like, "Just talk to my people. We'll try to schedule it." So we might have Jamel Herring on here in the future before his Carl Frampton defense.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge. I mean, it's a big deal for him to go across the pond. Of course, he just signed with MKT. Promotions and whatnot, and so that's a big deal for him to risk his championship belt and go up there. Carl Frampton and him, they've been working on this fight for quite some time. So that just brings us to the last fight, Drew, which was Richard Comey, who fought Teofimo Lopez. Richard Comey, dude, out of 5 of the last or 6 fights, by knockout, right? But then all of a sudden, this is, Comey, I have to remind people that are fans of like Mexican fighters, he knocked out Ray Beltran, who Ray Beltran was like one of the sturdiest journeyman Mexican fighters you could. I mean, this guy had been in wars. When he knocked out Ray Beltran, was the first time I really noticed Richard Comey. So, of course, he fights Teofimo Lopez. and he gets dropped. Two big, heavy power punchers, right? And here he was fighting Marinez. Let's take a 909 call and see. It could be Grandma Willow, it could be Johnny Savage, it could be somebody auditioning. 909, 909, you're on the air with the Shoeshine.
Hello, you're talking about the boxers and,
How many text apps does this guy use?
Hey, I'm going to put you on hold real quick. I'm going to put you on hold real quick, and we'll get to your call in just a moment, Mr. 909.
Johnny Savage, stop downloading text me apps and using their numbers to call in, please.
Who would know that he's sophisticated enough to run those text calling apps? You know what I mean? 909, of course I'm going to fall sucker for that. But the phone line is working. So hopefully if you are a legitimate boxing fan and not necessarily just a casual joker, give us a ring. All right, Drew. Comey versus Marinez, because Rolly Romero, that we just talked about that fight, dude. Rolly Romero came back. But Rolly Romero, a lot of people thought he got a gift decision over Marinez. And that dude Marinez is no joke, man. He outboxed Rolly Romero, in my opinion.
I thought he won too.
And
that was a robbery right there, man.
That was a robbery. But one thing he lacks in his knockout power, because his record doesn't indicate he has a huge punch. But he had a solid team behind him and a solid training camp. He's with Robert Garcia. He came in the box and things look competitive. But then again, Richard Comey comes out and finishes his fight with some devastating power at 135 pounds, man. So let me ask you.
Puts him back in the conversation.
Okay, thank you. Because I was on Raw Boxing's thing on Saturday night as people were going live, and I think I got a little bit of heat for saying that Richard Comey should definitely be in the conversation as top five.
You know what? I'm gonna explain this so everybody can, take a rest. Richard Comey is a former 135-pound champion.
Legit.
He lost to a younger, hungry prospect in Teofimo Lopez by knockout.
Or contender.
Contender.
Yeah, he hadn't had the belt yet, right?
But for people to say that, a lot of people must have write Richard Comey off after that fight. But the thing is, what got him to win that belt in the first place?
Well, it was pretty impressive. He went on his own streak.
Yeah. So now he comes back from that knockout loss to knock out a guy that legitimately should have beaten a big-time prospect in Romero. What? And you're telling, but people are going to say Romero should be in the talk, into the conversation too. If you put him in the conversation, you better put Richard Comey in the conversation. If not, then you don't know jack about boxing.
And so the whole year started off with all this hype around the first big fight of the year is Ryan Garcia at 135 pounds. All of a sudden, Ryan Garcia knocks out a top UK opponent, and he thinks he's at the top of the food chain. He's still trying to go for a fight with Manny Pacquiao. You got him. You got Devin Haney, who's like fighting for scraps for attention, because
you also got the other mandatory Fontoura, the other WBC mandatory.
Javier Fortuna. You got Javier Fortuna. You got Nakatani at 135 pounds, who only's loss is again also to Teofimo Lopez.
Do you see who he's going to fight in the summertime?
I did read just a little bit. Please remind me.
There is a rumor going around that in the summertime, Lomachenko is going to make his return to fight Nakatani. And I believe Lomachenko will easily beat Nakatani, in my opinion.
We got a comment from John Reyes, who says he'd like to get speech laid.
Well, he's not in here, so we can't get him laid right now.
I'm all for that, John. Help a brother.
I'm all for that too. We'll all chip together, get a nice looking hooker for him.
Oh man,
we'll get a room for him. I'm not putting up for the room, but I'll put up for the hooker, by the way.
I think we're trying to go for. We're not trying to go for family. Who am I kidding?
We're getting a.
We're trying to get a friendly. So
we're getting a strike.
Comey's still definitely in the top 7. Just can't drop a loss to a good fighter. If he gets knocked out by Raleigh, then maybe. Ha ha ha. But again, Raleigh makes such a lot of noise. He's one of those young fighters that's making a lot of noise on social media. And Comey, he's not that type of guy, man. I would love to see that fight. But again, it's Top Rank versus Al Heyman, right? Is it even possible?
He's a Floyd Mayweather. Signed to Floyd too. TNT, man. So that that could be hard to make and everything. But the thing is, I still think Richard Comey beats Wally.
I got a call here from. Well, it could be another John Reyes imposter here.
Johnny, if you call one more time, you are banned for 2 weeks.
All right, 714.
He's banned.
What? I'm not banned
Oh, not
for
you.
2 weeks.
Speech. You're good. I thought it was Johnny Savage.
All right, his speech impediment, man. I don't know if he's from the Howard Stern show or from the Anthony Cumia of Opie and Anthony now.
I'm all over the place.
Well, help me figure this out.
I'm all over the place.
Help me figure something out.
Yes.
Whoever lets you on stage, you're down for them. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Now, people who listen to the Howard Stern show, your buddy Shuley has disappeared from the show. There's things going around that he left the show on his own or that he got fired, which is a tradition of a lot of Howard Stern show staffers. They get canned as soon as something happens. But Speech, you're a comedian and you're willing to go wherever they book you. And I saw that you were in Atlantic City like 2 weeks ago with the Anthony Cumia show doing comedy. And then you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
Now, Kill Tony, Drew.
I did.
You did Kill Tony?
Tony over there.
But I was looking for you on YouTube. Kill Tony is one of the top comic YouTube channels. And they allow comedians.
Yes.
You put your name in a hat. And they travel all over the country. And I think they had Joe Rogan this past weekend, if I'm not correct. Did they have Joe Rogan in Texas recently?
He's in Texas, but when I was in Arizona, he wasn't there.
Now, did you get some set time in Phoenix? And shout out to everybody in Arizona. Did you get some set time?
Yes, I did at the Stand Up Live. And I'm going to be with the Compound Media. In fact, we're going to Austin, Arizona in May.
Wait a minute, Austin, Texas, or Austin, Arizona?
Austin, Texas. I'm sorry.
You're going back to Texas. You might want to invite me and my spouse so we can go get some Texas barbecue. You know, I'd like to try some of that.
They have some good barbecue.
Now,
I used to live there. Yes, they have good barbecue.
Okay, so Speech, you happen to be a fight fan. You were on last week. We tried to do this the last show, casual fan versus the real boxing fan. And most people on the social media said that you were a real boxing fan. Drew, do you still feel he's a real boxing fan?
He's a better boxing fan than Johnny Savage.
Wow, there you have it. A better boxing fan.
All Johnny talks about is pussy.
That is his specialty? That's what he likes to talk about?
Johnny is a pussy expert.
Yes. I don't know if he's a pussy expert, but you're close enough.
So, you know, speaking of sex, there was a guy on the Howard Stern show on Bubba the Love Sponge show. His name was Brent Hatley. I saw that his wife, now they were famous for being swingers last year on the Howard Stern show. I saw that she's going to be on an Anthony Cumia thing.
Well, she was on Chrissy May's show tonight, Wet Spot.
Wet Spot?
Yes.
Wow.
I tried to call in, but I couldn't get through. I wanted to ask her how long you need to be dating a person until you ask them if they want to swing. Because her and Brett were in the swinging.
Okay, I know this is not a kiss-friendly show anymore.
No. I mean, but you know what? Boxing fans, I'll tell you one thing, Drew, that I really firmly believe. A lot of guys that are into boxing are also into the comedy scene. I mean, I see it all the time. It's like, just lump it all into
Right.
one. A lot of guys into boxing
goes
are comedy fans.
hand in hand. And if you think about it, boxing is like human instinct to fight back, and sex is a human instinct. It's the urge that you need to satisfy. And being a comedian and laughing is just a human outlet.
You know,
Sometimes you have to get the poison out.
You know what, Dave?
Yes.
Whenever I have a kid and he comes of age, I should let Speech do the Boys and the Bees talk to him. He knows what he's talking about.
You just let him do the talking.
There you go.
Let's let him do it.
There you go.
Now he's bringing
He'll
the color.
he might help get my kid to get someone pregnant, but hey.
The caller is bringing up an interesting point because Speech, now in the 80s and 90s, some of the greatest fighters, they made it publicly known that before a major fight in their camp, they abstained from sex because during that time, they really felt that, well, if you let your seed go on your own, or you did it with your girlfriend or your wife, that you would be a lesser opponent in the ring. So they tried to abstain from sex. Now, is this something big comedians do? Is this something maybe Speech says, I got to kill it tonight. I'm going to abstain from sex all week. No.
I will tell you, I don't get laid very much.
Right.
But when you go up on stage, you want to be loose. So I like to rub one out before I go up on stage. I gotta get the poison out.
It's not exactly like boxing. All right. No, it's not exactly like boxing. There's some similarities, but it does. So that is your advice to an up-and-coming comedian if you're working the maybe the open mic. If you're working the open mic circuit, just, and if you get a chance, whatever is your fancy, if it's real estate porn or office fantasies, or I don't know, Speech. What's your favorite? Netflix?
Personally, I like real estate porn.
All right.
But I must admit, I'm getting older and I'm having a problem staining an erection and throwing ropes. I can't throw ropes like I used to.
Well, I'm sure many men, some men in their 50s and 60s may relate to that. And if you want to get us a sponsorship with I don't know, what are those, Roman.com or Get Blue or whatever, maybe Speech needs a sponsorship. That's what you need, Speech. You need to get yourself a sponsorship by a blue pill.
I'll work on that. Now, before I leave, I have a boxing question.
All right.
Now, you brought up the 80s, and I do believe that was the golden age of middleweight boxing. Now, we had some great fighters. We had Roberto Duran, Thomas Hitman Hearns, Marvelous Hagler, Sugar Ray. Now, let me ask you, out of those four, well, before I ask this, let me just throw this out.
Okay.
Do you remember when Marvin Hagler fought Sugar Ray Leonard in Las Vegas?
Now, I don't necessarily remember it in the moment, but I may have seen it in replay. So please refresh my memory what happened in that fight.
Well, anyways, Sugar Ray was a young Muhammad Ali. But Hagler was kind of like a Fraser. He kept coming. And they fought one time at Caesar's Palace. And they gave the fight to Leonard, because in the 80s, Leonard basically owned Las Vegas.
Ah.
Now,
like Canelo Alvarez today.
I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I would say the majority of the people thought that Hagler won that fight, and Hagler was so upset he quit boxing and he went over to Italy to become an actor. And he made many movies in Italy. Now, my question is...
where's Italy?
Italy. You know where they make the spaghetti western? The state that's shaped like a boot.
Why was Italy so good at spaghetti westerns?
It was just, the directors, Clint Eastwood, that's where he made his career with the 3 epic movies, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, for a few dollars more. And I forget the other one.
Well, hey,
for a few dollars.
I like a good Italy spaghetti western. I think that westerns and pasta.
Right.
I think that spaghetti and westerns go fantastic together.
There you go. And Lee Van Cleef were there. Now, getting back to my boxing quest.
Yes, because
Marvin Hagler,
right,
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Thomas Hitman Hearns. Rate those 4 in order of your
Lord,
how you think is best.
I already got this down.
Good, because I have been drinking too much whiskey to give speech impediment man a real answer. I couldn't even repeat the order. So go ahead, Philly. Philly Irish will give you the
top 5.
Philly guys.
Here it
Should I
is.
give him the top 5. Top 5. Number 5 is Roberto Duran.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Sugar Ray Leonard. Now hold on.
Okay.
So what is it? It's
Hearns?
So what's the number? What's the 5? Because
No, you said 4. It was Hearns.
I only
Hagler.
named 4.
Yeah, you named 4.
Top 4. So it's number 4 is going to be Duran. Number 3 is going to be Leonard. Number 2 is going to be Hitman Hearns, and number 1 is going to be Marvin Hagler. Because back then I thought Marvin Hagler was the best middleweight in that division. I think
I would have to agree with you there. Now, do you think my comparison of Hagler and Jill Fraser was accurate?
They had 2 different fighting styles, in my opinion. But no, I gonna disagree because they had 2 different boxing styles. Like, if Fraser was anything close to what Marvin Hagler was in a boxing ability, he probably would have beaten Ali both times that they fought, and I think he would have probably beat George Foreman too. So he would have had a way better record. But in my opinion, I said Marvin Hagler is the second greatest middleweight of all time. In my opinion.
Well, wait. Okay, the second. Who's the greatest? Jake LaMotta?
No, the greatest middleweight of all time is Bernard Hopkins. Let's just get that straight.
Of
right
course,
there.
Bernard Hopkins,
a Philadelphia guy.
I forgot about it.
We have a caller that wants to give his opinion on who the greatest fighter of history is. 909, your chance
Johnny
to be on
Savage,
the Shoeshine.
You say anything crazy, I will throw you the hell out myself.
What's up, man? Seats.
Well, Johnny would know which one got the more pussy.
Mike Tyson's the best fighter ever. He's
He's a Chavez. He won over 100 fights.
So you just said Mike Tyson or Cesar Chavez. So which one was it? And let me remind the audience, you're Mexican American.
Both of them. But hey, Peach,
Yes.
help you out. I'll get you later,
Yes.
bro. Like, dude, like you go on your shows. You can do StreamYard on your phone, Speech. I can show you how to do it. Go StreamYard live, and I'll help you do it. And I can show you how to do it, and you get to go on live streams. And you can hook up with chicks, bro. You can talk to chicks in the fucking Vegas.
You help them with that this weekend.
Vegas is opening up. Now, I suggest that all three of us, maybe Drew might want to fly out. And
I'm scared of airplanes.
How about if we all meet in Vegas and do a show?
Well, I think it's.
What do you think about
I think
that?
it could be a very interesting idea. Now, we've done this before. It is kind of time to wrap up tonight's show. And Mr. 909, you are still on the phone, but you have been muted. But just stay on the line. Now, let me just bring this up because there's so much news gossip I wanted to bring up. For one thing, Pacquiao wants $40 million to fight Terrence Crawford. $40 million. Is that egregious? Drew Evo, egregious? Too much money?
No.
All right. Hey, he's a superstar. Speech, who is, some people said he's a real boxing fan.
I
Speech,
say
$40 million.
if he could get the money, go for it. Personally, I wouldn't pay him, but hey, what do I care? But Pacquiao, I mean, really, what does he care? Because the money's all going to the government anyhow.
There you go. Okay, 909.
Exactly. Well, Speech. Hey, well, Speech. I want to get you Speech. I want to get you later, bro. Like, I want to help you out with your street
Okay,
cards.
Dave. I want to say something right now.
Yes.
After hearing that dude on a podcast,
Yes.
telling a couple
very
of black
concerning.
women how he's gonna do with them doing sex and everything, I would not trust him trying to get somebody to get laid.
Yeah, you know what? Surprisingly, if you don't know who John Ray is, he makes his way around all the podcasts. It's really quite impressive. So Manny Pacquiao wants $40 million, but let's get to some very imperative news because this has been on my mind before we get to the big news. Andy Ruiz, the guy who upset the biggest upset in the past 2 years in the heavyweight division, he's coming back, Drew, and he's coming back to fight Chris Arreola from Riverside area. It's going to be two Mexican Americans who nobody thinks has the body type to be an athlete. The battle of the taco trucks. You tell me. Speech, is it going to be carne asada or is it going to be the pollo asado that wins the battle of the taco trucks? Two big Mexican Americans looking for redemption.
I'll go with the carne asada.
Of course he will. Do you like Mexican women? I think I might have an auntie in Mexico I can set you up with. I'm not joking.
But I think it's a good idea. We all meet in Vegas and do a show.
Go ahead, Drew.
If any nice-looking Latino woman wants to teach me how to speak Spanish, I would gladly love to take you out on a date also.
Mr. 909, do you have any women that speak Spanish for either Mr. Drew Evo or Speech Impediment Man?
I don't trust any women that's associated with Johnny Savage.
Is that a yes or a no? Do you have any Latinas for either of my co-hosts here?
His wife had some pretty hot friends.
She watched the Selena show, so she can't come on right now. Sorry.
Well, it doesn't sound like
his wife
you got
had
anybody.
some pretty hot friends.
I know you guys would know. You guys are the kings of Huntington Beach. I know you guys have hung out extensively at the beach during the coronavirus pandemic. I saw it on the news. Mr. Johnny Savage was there with his wife with a beer in hand at the restaurant celebrating the opening of the bars. Now, back to Vegas news because this is major and we're going to wrap up our show on this. Canelo Alvarez has officially been granted a promoter's license by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. You know that Alvarez went free agent from Oscar De La Hoya. He's can do what he wants. He's just like Floyd. He calls his own shots, and now he's got a promoter's license, and he's got his eye on an NFL stadium that most of us have yet to even see from the inside, and I'm talking about Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Speech, it's very possible if the governor of Nevada, Sisolak, okays that we might have a super fight. I'm talking about BJ Saunders and Canelo Alvarez for Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 8th in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. It's in the works, possibly.
I think we should be there. I think it'll happen. In Vegas, money talks.
In Vegas, money talks. Drew, the idea that Canelo Alvarez will be the first person to headline a fight at the Raiders' brand new stadium, and it's a nice looking stadium.
Anybody can hold me off to this. I'm going to go on a booking website, and I'm going to drop $50 on Billy Joe Sanders to defeat Canelo.
Hey, wait a minute. That's not $50.
Ooh, shit. He didn't forget about that.
I didn't forget about you, Speech. I promise you I didn't forget about that, Speech. Now, if my prophecy...
Pay me in Vegas.
You know,
pay me in Vegas.
I don't know if he's going to go up.
I'm going to PayPal Dave the money and give it to you. Don't worry, Speech. You're going to get your money. But I'm telling you this, and I've been told Dave this, I'm putting $50 on Billy Joe Sanders on a booking website because that's going to be a huge payout if I win this, if he wins or when he wins.
All right, Mr. 909. $50 on Speech Impediment Man versus Drew Evo. $50. Who do you got, Mr. 909? Ah, shit, he fell asleep.
Thank God.
He passed out. All right. So, Canelo Alvarez gets his promoter's license.
For him.
And let me just remind you, because Speech is a guy I've hung out with in Las Vegas in the comedy scene, that the South Point used to have this amazing, every Friday night, they do this thing called The Dirty at 12:30. And the comedy clubs, I just heard that Barrett? He's opening up the club this week at the MGM. So that's good news for fans of comedy. Brad Garrett's Comedy Club is opening up. And I know that Speech has been a bit like I was saying. But Speech, let me tell you why I think the Canelo fight might actually happen in Las Vegas for Cinco de Mayo weekend. And it involves the world of comedy. And are you ready for this, Speech? Is Speech still here?
Yes.
Here it is.
Yes.
All right, here it is. Carrot Top is returning to the stage this weekend.
Oh, we got to go. Definitely. Definitely. If you haven't seen Carrot Top, he's hilarious.
Yep, he's about as hilarious as Gallagher smashing, what are those damn things?
Watermelon.
Yeah, that's how funny he is. Yeah, and there's no comparison between Carrot Top and Canelo Alvarez, is there? Just because they're redheads with freckles?
Yep.
Yeah, one more fight. We got a prediction to make tonight before we leave.
Yep. Real drummers don't skip, says Carrot Roids. He may be on Carrot Top may. I'm just saying this for his age. He may be on that Mexican taco truck meat. Just saying. Impressive.
You sure he's not on the needle?
All right, this has been the Shoeshine. Let me get my final thoughts out. My predictions for the week, because we got to move on. Of course, we're talking about Saturday night on ESPN. And shout out to Xander Zayas. I posted an old interview. Xander Zayas has been making the rounds, a hot young prospect. He'll be fighting on the card. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Could be one of the next great Puerto Rican welterweights. He'll be fighting Saturday night on that ESPN card. Drew, Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Burchelt. A huge Mexican showdown. All I can think about is what I'm going to eat and drink while I watch two Mexican warriors beat each other's. Hopefully it's not that bad. But listen, Miguel Burchelt is going to win this fight because his relentless pressure style and overwhelming power and size. It's going to be too much for Oscar Valdez, but Oscar Valdez will not disappoint because he's a warrior. G-Funky in the house, Valdez. Listen, Valdez is a guy you can't count out, man. There could be an upset. This could be fight of the year. In fact, fight of the year since 2000 between two Mexicans. February the 10th, 2000, Eric Morales defeats Marco Antonio Barreras. 2004, Marco Antonio Barrera defeats Eric Morales. 2007, Israel Vasquez defeats Rafael Marquez. Israel Vasquez beats Rafael Marquez in 08. Francisco Vargas defeats Orlando Salido in 2016. Just since 2000, when two Mexican guys decide to go toe-to-toe, all the potential is there. Drew, your pick this weekend.
I'm going to make a lot of people happy because when I pick the upsets, they happen.
All right.
Oscar Valdez wins by a 10th round knockout.
Wow! Let me just say shout out to G-Funky from the Leave It in the Ring Network, G-Funky channel on YouTube and the Roundtable. You and him pick Valdez. Very, very interesting speech. I don't know if you know anything about these guys. Because, again, you just might be a casual fan. But, sir, if you want to give your prediction, Valdez or Burchelt, I know that doesn't sound Mexican, but if you're picking a racehorse, who do you got?
Valdez.
He's got Valdez. That's 3 for Valdez. Too bad you weren't going for Burchelt. Maybe Drew could have won his. You could have made it even Stevens because he owes you $50. This has been the Shoeshine. It's been a pleasure. If you guys are watching us, Doc Ivan is shout out to Doc Ivan, John Reyes, everyone who's joined us today. Appreciate all the love. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really would help us out so we can get a dedicated channel. And look out for us next week. And look out for the Roundtable on Leave It in the Ring Network on Thursday nights at D-Styles YouTube boxing channel. I'm Dave from the 408. Drew, thank you. Philly Irish. Speech impediment man from the Howard Stern Show, Anthony Cumia. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it as always.
Okay.
We'll see you next Monday. Peace.